Do people always ask you for help, but vanish when you need something? You say yes, even when every part of you wants to say no? You keep showing up for everyone, even the ones who never show up for you? Still you tell yourself, I'm a nice person. That's who I am. But let's be honest. Deep down you feel used, you feel tired, you feel invisible. You wonder why does kindness hurt so much? Let me tell you why. Because when being nice comes at the cost of your voice, your rest, your boundaries, it stops being kindness. It becomes a trap. At first you're just helping, but slowly your identity gets built around being the one who never says no. Then the world around you adjusts. They stop asking. They just expect. You're no longer appreciated. You're assumed. This happens everywhere, even inside your home. It could be a mother, giving every part of yourself, thinking that's love. You cook, clean, stay up late, show up for every need. Put everyone else first, because that's what a good mother does. But when no one asks how you're doing, when your feelings are dismissed with you're strong, you'll manage, and you keep pushing anyway. That's not just love, that's self-erasure. A kind mother becomes a tired woman no one sees. She's called selfless, but what she really feels is invisible. She's called strong, but she's actually just alone. Or you're a father, the silent backbone, always providing. You hold back your feelings, never complain, say yes to every sacrifice. You don't cry in front of your children. You don't talk about the stress at work. You carry the burden with a smile because that's what you were taught. But inside you're carrying silent stress, silent sadness, silent exhaustion, because no one thinks you need help. You've never said no, so they think you're fine. And when you finally fall apart, everyone's shocked. But the signs were always there. You just hid them too well. Or maybe you're the obedient son or daughter, always doing what's expected, never questioning, always being the good one. You ignore your dreams, suppress your voice, avoid conflict, just to keep the family peace. But even that takes a toll. You become what others want and forget what you want. You say yes to everything, even if it breaks you inside, just to avoid being the disappointment. And slowly, the version of you that had opinions, desires, boundaries, that version disappears. You've been so good, you've forgotten how to be real. This emotional debt adds up. You say yes when you mean no. You show up when you're drained. You give, hoping someone will give back. But no one does, because you never said you needed it. You've trained the people around you to believe you're unbreakable, but you're not. You're just quiet. You're just polite. You're just tired. Being nice can feel like a moral duty, but if it makes you betray yourself, it's not moral. It's martyrdom. Because here's the thing. People don't respect what they get for free. When you're always agreeable, always accommodating, they stop saying thank you. They just start assuming it's your job. And you teach them, unintentionally, that you don't have needs, that you're okay being the backup plan, the second call, the one who never complains. This dynamic shows up in offices too. You're the one who stays late, picks up slack, fixes everyone's mess. You do it quietly, without asking for credit. And while others get promotions and recognition, you get ... expectations. You're not rewarded for your sacrifices. You're expected to keep making them. And when you finally speak up, they call you difficult. What happened to you, they ask, as if your boundary is a betrayal, as if your silence was the real you, not your strength, not your exhaustion. You feel it. You want to stop, but a voice in your head says, if I stop being nice, am I still a good person? That's the trap. When you tie your worth to being liked, you become terrified of boundaries. But true goodness isn't about being liked. It's about being real. Let's get something straight. Being kind doesn't mean being endlessly available. Being kind doesn't mean agreeing with everything. Being kind doesn't mean staying silent when something hurts. You can care deeply about others and still say, I'm not okay with this. You can show up with empathy and still say, that dose and tea work for me. You can love someone and still say, I won't do that again. That's not selfish. It's self-respect. That's emotional maturity. It's kindness with a backbone. When you say, I'm not okay with this, you're not being dramatic. You're being clear, naming what hurts you, and choosing not to ignore it. When you say that doesn't work for me, you're not rejecting someone. You're aligning with yourself. You're saying this doesn't match my energy, values, or capacity. When you say I love you, but I won't do that again, you're showing mature love, love that has limits, boundaries, and dignity. That's not being harsh. That's being whole. You don't have to be loud to protect your peace. You don't have to be rude to hold a boundary. You just have to stop abandoning yourself every time someone else wants more. Because here's the truth. If people only like you when you say yes, they guarantee like you. They like your compliance. They like your silence. They like your obedience. Real love survives a no. Real respect includes your limits. So no, we're not saying stop being nice. We're saying stop only being nice. Stop giving from emptiness. Stop calling burnout a virtue. Stop naming self-erasure as sacrifice. The world needs kindness, but not the kind that leaves you depleted, not the kind that makes you resentful, not the kind that's rooted in fear. So here's the truth. Being nice without boundaries becomes a silent contract, one where you keep paying and others keep collecting. You end up in situations where your kindness is no longer seen as a gift, but as a guarantee. And every time you let something slide, every time you say yes just to avoid discomfort, you're saying 3 words to yourself. I don't matter. Not out loud, not obviously. But deep down, your inner voice starts believing it. That you're only loved when you're useful. Only respected when you're silent. Only included when you give. Let's flip that. Try these 3 instead. I do matter. Say it again. I do matter. Your time matters. Your peace matters. Your energy matters. You are not a machine. You are not infinite. You're not here to carry everyone else while ignoring the weight on your own back. And if that makes someone uncomfortable, remember these 3 words. Discomfort creates clarity. When you stop being available for your own depletion, people show you who they really are, who values you, and who just uses you. Let's go deeper. In every family, every relationship, every team, there comes a point where love must evolve. It must grow from obedience to honesty, from sacrifice to self-awareness, from silence to balance. And that happens when you learn to say the 3 hardest words. No, not anymore. Not with anger, not with hate, but with calm, with strength, with love for yourself. And what happens after that? Something beautiful. You begin hearing 3 new words from the right people. I respect that. People who care for you will not just love you for what you give. They'll love you for who you are, fully, imperfectly. Honestly, so let's close with this. In a world that profits from your self-doubt, your exhaustion, your endless giving, choosing to protect your peace is revolutionary. Radical. Necessary. You don't owe the world your silence. You don't owe anyone your burnout. You don't have to earn love by disappearing. You were not born just to be nice. You were born to be whole. 3 final words, you're enough.